So, Matt Reeves. Well, during all the press for the Batman, I remember him doing an interview, and Ashley pointed it out to me that he talked about the Joker scene that was deleted. Because if you've seen the movie, spoilers, Joker...
He actually spoiled it. He spoiled it.
No, I'm saying just the fact that Joker is in it.
Right, but he
all.
actually
But
during...
No, I know.
Just, go ahead.
If nobody had seen the movie out of context would be like, oh, that was just a random scene that was cut out of this movie. You know what I mean? And somehow there's probably someone that hasn't seen this movie yet. But regardless, I don't know the dude's name, but the guy that played Druig in...
Barry Keoghan.
Thank you. That was Druig in Eternals. He is in this as the Joker. And an interesting take on the character. But I remember reading in an interview that they did shoot this scene that Reeves said that we cut it out of the movie. And then we finally get all these teases because if you see at the end of the movie, if you stay after the credits, there's like a quick flash of a website to go to. And you have to solve all these riddles. And then finally they released the trailer to that scene. Tyler, you just watched it because I watched it yesterday when it dropped. So what did you think?
I'm wet. Yeah. Wow. I'm not I'll say this. As much as the Joker has been done to perfection, I mean, it's such a nuanced character, like the Batman. Like, okay, I'm first of all, I'm somebody who's talked a lot about, disparagingly about how many different iterations of the Batman and how my God,
before this movie came out, you and I have had arguments on the show.
When it was, I think it was when it was. I can't remember when I started getting excited about it. I want to say when the first trailer dropped, and I was like, oh, because who wasn't?
Yeah, the one where he or the very first one, or the DC fandom one where he flips the car and it's upside down and.
I think the very first. I don't know.
No, I think I was with you. The very first one I saw, I was like, "Oh fuck!"
I just remember just being like, "What the fuck?"
And
this
then that
looks
second
awesome.
trailer, I was like, "This looks incredible." And you know what? It was. I fucking love that movie.
But here's the thing about the reason why you can have so many iterations of Batman in live action is because he's such a nuanced character that you can do different takes on him and not. Yeah. You can still remain true to the character while nuancing different things. And the same is true of the Joker and the Penguin and the Riddler and all these other characters. And that's why they're such great characters, because they're easy. They're not easy to write for, but they're easy to take in different directions without ruining the character.
Great example. Penguin. I myself have experienced at least 4 different versions of Penguin. I've experienced the Jeff Johns Earth 1 Penguin, the Danny DeVito Penguin, the Penguin that's in the Batman Telltale game, and this Penguin. So, and that is a great example.
What about Burgess Meredith in the original series?
Oh, of course. 5. There's 5 different versions of 6, because Penguin in the Batman Arkham games.
Did you know? This is interesting, too. Go ahead.
But anyway, yeah. So I feel weird about it because I think it's a good scene in a sense that I don't hate. You just said his fucking name,
Burgess Meredith.
I don't hate his performance. I think it's an interesting take.
What was the first live action? Are you talking about the one?
Sorry, no. I'm talking
one.
about the deleted scene.
Barry Keoghan.
Yes, Barry Keoghan. I was like, wait a minute. It was an interesting take on Joker.
Yes.
And it was something a little different because it felt like it was a little bit of a blend of Heath's and his own kind of spin on it. And yeah, really fucking ugly design. And I kind of love it. I kind of love it.
Me too, but here okay, so here's some real interesting facts that a lot of people don't know. At the time of the Batman original series on TV, the Batman series, he had no rogues, okay? Professor Zero was Mr. Freeze, okay? And he appeared 10 years earlier and hadn't been seen since. The Joker hadn't been seen in months.
They rewrote his character.
The Penguin hadn't been seen in months. When they started that show, the comic writers, we talk about how a lot of the comics are influenced by these MCU, and whatnot, and that's true.
They've always been that way.
But it's always been that way. And here's the thing. We actually have that campy-ass show to thank for all of the rogues that we have in Batman's Villains Gallery now. Because they introduced and breathed life into those crazy, those crazy super villains, those arch nemesis that he had.
Yeah, and you don't have,
and they started showing up back up in the comics again.
Yeah, it is kind of cool to see those characters get redemption.
Yeah. So Burgess Meredith really is why the Penguin is the Penguin that we are like, oh, Colin Farrell's take on that is different.
That's the thing too about that is now we're getting a Penguin HBO Max show, which we knew about, but we're getting that. We're getting a Riddler prequel comic book. Now they're releasing this deleted scene. It's like they are still, and I think it's because maybe it's because they're opening in another market, because they did not do well in China, but overall this movie's fucking making hand over fist.
Yeah.
But it just seems so weird that DC is so gung ho on the Matt Reeves Batman, and they're doing all of this without official.
We talked about this.
Well, this is the thing. This is their way. This is how these companies do things now, and Marvel and DC, where it's like, we're not going to announce a sequel, but we're going to make it almost required viewing to. That's not the case with the MCU shows. I think you could probably watch those and be fine, whatever.
Well, no,
but I'm just saying with what I think they might be trying to do with the Batman is, if you want to get more on Penguin, where he might show up in the sequel, you should watch this show, or you should watch. But if it's done in a supplemental way of like, because they're doing the Arkham series, so I'm wondering if that's going to be like a what's the phrase where it's not linear? It's like self-contained seasons. But there's a name for it. Anthology.
Okay. My issue with all of this is
gonna drive me crazy if I didn't get that.
Stop announcing stuff. Stop it.
I want to talk more about the Joker.
That's fine. I thought it was okay. That's it. That's my take on it.
Jesus. What?
I don't like the grotesquerie. What's going on with that? I don't like it. I mean,
I like it.
It lent itself a terrifying quality, and certainly it's sinister and everything, but I'm not saying he needed the prosthetics to be sinister, because his voice is just fine, but what are you going to do with that in the future?
I think they're leaning into more of the Scott Snyder Batman. So they want a more like grotesque looking Joker.
Whatever.
I mean, they're not going to cut his face off like in the comics.
That'd be fucking badass, though.
That would get you a hard R right there. There's no way you could keep that into PG-13.
I got a hard R right here.
Wow.
After seeing that Joker scene.
Is that what you call your dick, the hard R?
Yep.
Because it's dirty.
What?
Dirty digging. Dirty digging with Tyler. Anyway, so my take.
Pause it for a second.
What?
Because just pause it.
I think it just furthers my belief that Pattinson's a great Batman, because he's amazing in this scene.
Yeah, but wasn't it just Clarice and fucking Hannibal?
No, that's exactly what Matt Reeves said in the interview. That was the inspiration for it.
Yeah, well,
and the reason,
a little too on.
And the reason it's cut is the reason why I think it should have been, and I'm glad it is, because it undermines Batman in this movie
a little bit.
So it takes away his ability to be a detective by making Joker spell it out for him.
You actually said he actually.
But it's a good scene.
Before I watched it, Jake was telling me, he's like, I'm glad it was a deleted scene, and the reason why I agree with that is because if I had been watching that movie and that scene happened, I might have giggled. I might have chuckled.
Yeah.
I might have been like, really? I might have been.
Because even in the little bit that he is in the movie,
it's
you're
just
like,
it's the whole given the shoving the documents through the little keyhole thing. It's the system that he passes the documents to him.
Yeah.
Cha-chunk, What is that called?
I know. I don't know.
Anyway, but it's that is so reminiscent of the fucking Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
That I would have been laughing like that's comical almost.
Yeah.
Seeing it out of context, I still get that, but I'm not laughing. I'm like, okay, I see the inspiration, but I'm more concentrating on the scene. So I agree. I'm glad it was deleted, because I might have been like, well, it was great up until then.
Yeah.
And then it was comical. Well,
it was interesting nonetheless. I think, and I I've had people go up and down on the spectrum of his performance. Whatever. I think narratively it makes a lot of sense to cut it, and I'm glad they did. But it was cool, and it's an interesting way to keep, again, showing things without actually saying them. Like, we know for a fact there's going to be another Batman movie from Matt Reeves, but I hope it isn't a Joker movie. We've seen enough of Joker. I would love to see, and we talked about redemptive characters. I want to see, because I love Mr. Freeze so much, I want to see his redemption. And nothing against Arnie. I love the dude. But that is probably the cheesiest, hokiest fucking movie I've ever seen is Batman and Robin. But
Freeze!